Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Glad you could make it. If you read Matthew chapter 24, the first 31 verses are about the second coming of Christ. And this is at the end of the tribulation. And out of that, let's read verse 30. Excuse me. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So, in verse 30, clearly the world is not happy to see Jesus return to earth here because they're mourning. Those who don't believe in the rapture will tell you it's because the Christians all got wiped out and that's the only ones that are left. Okay. So after that happy thought, let's turn to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 17 through 18. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words. All right, so according to the non-rapture bunch, this is speaking to a handful of Christians who miraculously survived all the horrific tribulations and being hunted down nonstop for 7 years. Are we comforted by those words? In that context, I would have to say no. And I'm not going to tell you if I thought that to be comforted by those erroneous thoughts either. Now, seeing this, we can see why they don't want to teach the end times in their institutions. They don't believe in the rapture. So then you have to believe that the Christians are all going to get wiped out. So I guess they're just like, they know it, but I guess they're like, they know it, which they don't. And then they're like keeping it a secret from their congregations, I guess. Like someone said last week in the comments, I think it was a guy, but I'm not sure. It would be better to just get the quickest death we can and get it over with if you're in the tribulation. I agree with that. I'm totally serious about it too. The quick death would be much more of a comfort than surviving all that mess if you understand what's going on in that. Of course, the non-rapture adherents, and I've heard it over and over, they think we are too scared to die. So to them, I want to refer them to the more sarcastic version of this video that we did previously, and I'll put a link to it in the description box. But anyways, going back to Matthew 24, we see from verse 32 on, it is speaking of the rapture, and as I've said before, that should be the start of a new chapter, verse 32. But they didn't recognize it. They thought it was still the second coming. But let me read that to you. It's a number of verses here. Now learn the parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, then you know the summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass, till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until that day Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. You know, there's a lot of clues there about when this mystery will happen. We know the second coming will be at the end of the tribulation period, which lasts 7 years. No clues should be necessary about when the Lord will return in the second coming. So when you read that one will be taken and the other left, this is not just a random thing. We have to conclude this is a rapture. Those who will be taken are not being abducted by aliens. They are being taken up in the rapture. Whether you want to use that word or not, that's what it is. Jesus is taking us at that time, which is very soon. Let me quote that verse again. 1 Thessalonians 4:17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we be with the Lord. You can see where these verses, or this verse fits nicely with the second half of Matthew 24, not the first half. And the ones who got taken in this verse are left. They're going to be with the ones who are left. The ones who are not taken. They're going to be left with the ones from all nations who are mourning when they see Jesus return all the way to earth from the clouds. So in a way, that fits with the second coming, that part of it. Because they're not Christians. And is there anyone listening today who is not a Christian and does not want to be thrown into the lake of fire and be there forever? If there is, the only way to avoid it is to be born again. Pray and admit you're a sinner and believe that Jesus died on the cross and was raised again, paying for your sins, and thank him for paying for your sins on the cross. Something you got to do right now, because there's not much more opportunities coming. Thank you.